So Fine Neuro is a company that Steven and I founded, I think it was 6 years ago originally. It was based on my postdoc with Steven since 2015. And I want to just say that to celebrate that we are also a strategic partner with McGinn. Thank you, Beth. All of you. And it was a spin-out from the Martino Center. The idea about Fine Neuro is to take the tool that we developed during my postdoc and to make it more clinical tools for epilepsy surgery. So it's a clinical support platform, but under the hood, it's still, there is research algorithms and pipelines that we also want that they will be used in the research community. So originally we developed a tool that's called MMVT. It's very great name, I hope it will stick. We have a great logo, as you can see, from Metallica, if you recognize it. And the idea about MMVT was that we collect rich information, if it's MEG, EEG, fMRI, sometimes invasive electrodes, like we did during my postdoc. And we want to explore the data. We want to visualize the data after some kind of a pipeline analysis. And it's hard. It's really, really hard. Even MEG, which is four-dimensional, it's hard to explore. So if you want to, on top of that, use other data, it's really hard. So that was the idea behind developing MMVT, to explore the data, understand the data better from a data-driven approach. Nowadays, we are working a bit more than that. So what we are aiming to do, and I'll take it step by step, and by the way, you can go to fineneuro.io to play with it. It's free. We're doing a couple of steps. So right now, we're doing it at MGH and other hospitals, but we also want to do it different labs or facilities to help organize and curate the database. So if this is a clinical database for epilepsy patients, where you can see what data was collected for each patient, and you can also upload data, you can run analysis and so on, and also eventually visualize it, we also want to do the same thing with labs. Because at least what I found out, it's hell. It's really hard to understand where the data here in Neuro is really helpful with that, because with Steven, it's 18 years of data. And if I want to do now a study on more than 10 patients, it's really hard where the data is. Because most of our database, like REDCap and those kind of database, it can tell me about medical information, but where the data is located and how I can use it, who knows? Now, I think agree. So this is our first task. To create this database, you can search, you can see exactly what was collected, and you can do group analysis, and you can create reports, and you can share, and you can do whatever you want to do, and visualize, of course. We also implement by ourselves different steps of pre-processing. So luckily, I used to be, or still actually, a QBmate with Minac. Where's Minac? So it's heavily based on MNE Python. Thank you, Minac. And I'm not using their website. I'm just looking ahead for Minac and asking questions all the time. So I'm used to do that also. So for each MEG, it's heavily based on MNE Python, but we also have other modalities. So we're also heavily using FreeSurfer for reconstructing the anatomy. If it's functional fMRI, we're using FSFast. If it's invasive electrode, we use other tools. But the idea that it doesn't necessarily need to be those tools. If we're using Brainstorm or any other tool, hopefully, you can also do that, because we don't, it's not like we don't care. You can use your own analysis, and in the end, we have a very easy API, a very easy approach to import everything to MMVT. So MMVT looks, this is the new MMVT. We took it from, if you know Blender, it used to be a standalone tool. It was horrible to install, and eventually we are taking everything to the cloud or to the web, so you don't have to install anything. If you have a server in your center, you can also install it locally. And I think I created a short video. So the idea is that this is the 3D reconstruction brain of a patient. This is a template brain. Oh, thank you. I like to see what you Oh,
days.
okay, yeah. No, that's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more like for the online people, I think.
Okay, yeah, I can shout. So here it's fMRI, I'm switching it, but the idea that you can visualize and explore the data and eventually also look on data that change over time in a multimodal way. It also can produce very nice pictures. So these are free covers from different journals of 3 different papers that use MMPT to create these pictures. And here just few examples of what you can do. So for example, this is in blue, you can see the registration of post-op CT of epileptic patient with pre-op MRI. And you can see, do a 3D slice to see where the SIG electrodes, the orthotic EEG electrodes are located, and also how they change over time. Here we wanted to compare the strongest hub, let's say, of EEG and MEG. Actually, that was MEG and fMRI, so you can see different colors, and we call it the dead zebra view. So you can see the whole connectivity and compare it between the different modalities. But I really like this example because we just took fMRI and power of, I think it was gamma power of MEG, and wanted to see if they are correlated. So usually people using high gamma power, let's say, and compare it to fMRI, but it's really hard to select the band, right? To select the frequencies. So here interactively you can see the power, I hope you can see the power, over frequencies, and you can see that there are different peaks. So maybe if I choose this peak, the results will be completely different, who knows? So in MBT you can do that. And this is the TMS in EEG. And also a nice movie demonstrating, I think Steve, that was our first movie for DARPA, because they like shiny movies. So this is the same brain. Resting state fMRI, this is the raw data, and the connectivity in the same time, how it changes over time, and also the correlation, power of correlation over time. Yeah, so you can do very nice videos and pictures like that. But I think what is more important here, that's what we want to offer now that we found the company to the researcher community, that's you can use our tools as someone from MNE Python, one course, he told me that, so you are the glue. So I think that's kind of capture nicely what we are trying to do. We are trying to glue different labs together. We're trying to glue different modalities together. So we also would like to offer hosting, even if someone interested. So if you have a lab that's doing something else, something, and you want to collaborate with a different lab in a different state even, and you want even to share your pipelines, and not only the results. So it will be much easier to do something like that using our infrastructure. So that's all. I also have a short study, but it depends how much time do we have. And then if you want, I can.
Another 3-4 minutes. I don't know how long it's time.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'll talk very briefly about something that we did using our technology. And that's, we wanted to see if in epilepsy, if we can look on of networks and we can find nodes in these networks that would be targets for surgical treatment for epilepsy. And I'll go very quick on that. But the idea that it was really hard to visualize these results. So for example, we created functional patches on the cortex and it's in a native space. So we cannot do any group analysis here. We need to go patient by patient. We want to see how different patches change over time. So you can visualize the time. And then eventually you want to see, for example, if you're doing granular causality, how does it look in the native space as a network? So this is a mess, but this is interactive. And you can rotate it, you can filter the network, and you can see how it changes over time. And so for me, I think that I had this MVT tool that I always add features to do my own research. That was extremely helpful to understand the data and see if there is something wrong with it. So for example, here what we also did was to register the post-op MRI and to see that the nodes that we found that was driving the network was actually in the center of the resection zone of an epileptic patient that was seizure-free after the resection. And you can do that inside our platform because we have also the slicer view. So you can pinpoint on a node in the network, see where it is on the slice. So all of these things are much easier. This is the results. Yeah. So thanks so much. And that was 20 minutes talking, 2 minutes. But I think maybe the take-home message that it doesn't really matter if you're using Brainstorm or SPM or Penny or MNE Python. You can use it together with our platform, hopefully to do better research and to create a community in an easier way and to share data and ideas. Yes?
Does someone have to participate by uploading data to have access to other data, or they can pay?
So depends if you're a clinician or not. If you're a researcher, we're trying to do it for free. So we are trying now to build servers in different institutions, so everybody be able to use it. Clinician is a different story. Research, we don't really have a business model around it. We just want to help to do better research. If you can put us on your grant, that would be great, but yeah, everything should be free in research. If you want to do neurosurgery based on our tool, that's a different story.
It's just that the reason why I ask is sometimes there are registries, like for example, registry of women with epilepsy, and they just like log in and they take data. They not that necessarily have contributed to the data. That's why I was asking, is this platform open to whoever subscribes to it?
Yeah, so again, so the clinician, it won't be like that, but for research, we haven't built yet the research community, but this is up to the community, and that should be open for everyone. One of the things that we're trying to make it simpler, that's nowadays, that's every grant, I think that you're writing, you need to explain how you're going to share the data. So using this tool, it will be much easier to de-identify the data if it's patient data, and then click a button and upload it to Open Neuro, for example, in BIDS format. So hopefully during the time, if researcher will use this platform, we'll have a bigger data sets that everybody can use. But now there is Open Neuro, but if you look in Open Neuro, you need to download the data, and you need some tool to explore the data, and it's really hard to visualize this data. Here you can just click and view the data. Yes?
I'm not sure if this is completely related to what you're doing over here, but is it possible to actually get data on seizures, localize them while they're happening, using a med machine, especially because the whole body is shaking?
Yeah.
Probably some amount of stillness, which is usually not possible.
You can do it with interictals. You can do it with interictals, then there's no motion.
I didn't understand that.
I said that if the patient is also interictals events, right? That's the patient is not moving, then you can record. And one of our dreams, that's for example to do MEG and to dynamically create the networks while they have seizures. Maybe if we are using OPM, sorry about that, you can also use TMS and try to manipulate the network while the seizures happening. But ictal events themselves, I think that this is a question for Steve. If you think that during ictal events you can measure.
And typically what you do is you measure up to the onset of the seizure, and then within a second or two they start moving. And for patient safety reasons, you pull them out of the seizures as well. Sometimes there's a type of seizure where you're not moving, and those you can actually record during the seizure and afterwards. But that's harder to do. But there are sites like Cleveland Clinic that routinely get ictal MEGs because they're taken off their medication and brought into the MEG specifically to get these seizure events. But you basically measure it up to the point of the seizure onset, which is hopefully
Thanks.
Okay, let's thank the speaker one more time. So thank you all so much for attending. We had really an exciting series of lectures and presentations of the software. So I hope you you found this symposium exciting. You got any new interesting ideas for your research? The tools, the software tools are definitely available at our disposal. We're much better now than what we used to be a few years back in terms of software too. So thank you all. And I don't want to stand on your way for the reception outside. So let's gather outside and talk further.